we have to talk ourselves into picking one of these teams to win a division. And I've sold myself like a real estate agent.
Okay.
I've done it.
Okay.
I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons to win the NFC South. You know that last season, in 15 of their 17 games, they either won or lost by one score. That was the third best behind the Chiefs and the Bills. No other team in the NFL was in more games than the Falcons, other than the Chiefs and the Bills. Two teams that, I mean, we view as contenders. This was with $84 million in dead cap, the cheapest defense in the NFL. The pass defense ranked 31st in EPA per attempt and 30th in third down conversion rate, which means they weren't even getting off the field. The third cheapest offense and the NFL's worst quarterback accuracy. Marcus Mariota was 45th in accuracy. Only quarterback worse was Desmond Ridder at 46. 4-game sample size. Had to mention that. How is a team with bad quarterback play, subpar receiving group because Kyle Pitts did go out after 10 games, and a bad defense able to stay in games? It's Arthur Smith. It's the magician that he is. They were able to exceed expectations because of the running game, discipline, and in-game adjustments. The Falcons were the least penalized team in 2022. Falcons running backs who ran behind the 5th-ranked offensive line according to PFF were number 1 in rushing yards, number 1 in yards per carry, number 1 in rushing first downs, and number 2 in EPA per rush. They gained the league best 5 or more yards on 42% of carries. They just added Bijan Robinson to improve that strength that they have. And then the adjustments. In the first half, the Falcons were 20th in points per drive and 18th in yards per drive. In the second half, they were 8th in points per drive and 6th in yards per drive. Defenses know Atlanta wants to run the ball. The Falcons had a 35% pass rate on first down, which was the lowest in the NFL. And that's why Atlanta faced 7+ man boxes on 77% of first downs. Arthur Smith adjusted by calling play action on 55% on first downs, which was the number 1 rate in the NFL. On these plays, number 1 in EPA per attempt, number 1 in target depth, number 6 in success rate. The Falcons have doubled down on what works. They drafted Bijan Robinson. They have a top offensive line in the league. And the weakest point on this team was the defense. They couldn't get off the field. They couldn't stop the pass or the run. You get Jesse Bates. If they can get A.J. Terrell back to that 2021 level, I think the secondary is going to be very good.
You add Okudah as
well. And Okudah, who is a solid starter, he's not 5th overall pick like what he got drafted to be, but he's still a solid player.
I agree.
And then on the defensive line, Grady Jarrett has always been a standout. He's just never had help. Now you add Calais Campbell, David Onyemata. Let's see what Bud Dupree still has left. And also, Caden Ellis is a sneaky sign that I also like. You improve the defense, you improve your strength in the running game, and in 2023, they have the second easiest strength of schedule, the easiest schedule of offenses, so that defensive performances by them will be a little bit more inflated, and they spent the 5th most in free agency. Usually when you spend money in free agency, you get early returns on what you spend. It's usually a 1 to 2 to 3 game improvement. The Falcons have won 7 games in back-to-back seasons when they had no business of winning 7 games. Desmond Ridder, I understand the accuracy concerns are true concerns, but I think he's going to improve. I saw Ryan Tannehill play at a top 10 quarterback level under Arthur Smith. Kyle Pitts is healthy. Drake London is healthy. The offensive line is elite. You have an elite back in Bijan Robinson and even some backups like Tyler Algier who can also get in there and do damage. The defense will be improved. I think the Atlanta Falcons are winning the NFC South, and I feel comfortable about it. I trust Arthur Smith. I really think this is the Falcons' year.
I'm right with you, huh?
Nah, he makes a lot of strong points. And again, I can't have this conversation without admitting the fact that these two teams, the Saints and the Falcons, are separated by a game. So I'm not going to sit here and slander the Atlanta Falcons. It really just comes down to the schedule of theirs. I think that it's just the one game against it's the division game. I have the Saints beating Tampa Bay twice. I have Tampa Bay beating the Falcons once at least. That's the difference in me between the two schedules. But you mentioned it. They made some additions to the defense, which is desperately needed. One of the worst pass defense, one of the worst rush defenses as a whole. They go and they get Calais Campbell to add next to Grady Jarrett. That's going to be a strong defensive tackle unit as well. You go and you bring in Okudah for extremely cheap. What was it, a 5th round draft pick for Jeff Okudah? Yeah. Terrell becomes the big question, and it's not a matter of talent. It's just a matter of getting into what he once was. You bring in Jesse Bates. You kind of had to, let me not say overpay, but you had to spend a little bit of money, especially because you understood that you struggled last year, and Jesse Bates is going to help clean up the secondary without a doubt. Offensively, this is where I understand the hype. The offensive line is extremely good. Lindstrom's one of the best guards in the National Football League. Re-signing McGarry, he kind of broke out last season at the right tackle position. Kind of the Falcons' equivalent to what I can say Garrett Bowles, where he really broke out in that 4th year of his contract. He ended up getting himself an extension. Matthews has been a model of consistency at the left tackle position as well. And I just cannot buy myself on a team led by Desmond Ridder. I'm sorry. And I love the talent.
What if he's this year's Daniel Jones?
It's Arthur Smith.
I love Drake London. I love Bijan. You know how I feel about Bijan and what the production I believe will be shown this year. No, it's getting to that point where it is getting very uncomfortable how much I've been talking about him. No doubt. He's amazing.
It's constantly in your mouth.
He took it there.
Wow. Constantly in your mouth.
I'm trying to be serious here. Joe's getting
This guy's
sick.
nuts. It's him.
And then, of course, last but not least, that trio of Arthur Smith, Bijan, and Drake London. It is beautiful. I would love for it to be a quartet, but Desmond Ridder doesn't fit that mold for me. Desmond Ridder really is going to be what holds me back from really solidifying.
Also, a trio without a quarterback.
Exactly. It can't be.
That's a problem.
It can't be. There's really no true strong.
In there.
All right, there
Still
you
a
go.
problem.
That's where we get back. It is a quartet, I guess. What's the 5? I can't say quintuplet. Quintet. I don't know. Bro,
Just the guy, you know.
No, thank you, bro. Because of course, Kyle Pitts gets thrown into that conversation. The skill position talent on the Atlanta Falcons is amazing. It is young. It is something that is such a strong foundation. One of the best young foundations in the National Football League. It is being held back because they don't have a true quarterback. And it's been due to, this year they missed out on the top quarterbacks with Anthony Richardson getting selected at 4. They didn't want to take that shot on Will Levis. They ended up going high talent upside with Bijan Robinson. Understand that in hindsight, given all the statistics that Joel has shown you, it's been proven Atlanta Falcons one of the best rush offenses in the league. But Desmond Ridder, he mentioned it, the most inaccurate quarterback, did not show me much in these 4 games. In the few clips shown on Twitter, on Instagram, I'm being a training camp hero right now, really trying to manipulate what I'm watching.
Okay.
But that's really what it comes down to. The great plays we've seen from the Atlanta Falcons have been due to missed throws from Desmond Ridder that the skill position players have just come up with great grabs. We saw today, the clip came out on Kyle Pitts. He's running his out route. He has to kind of throw his hands back towards the defender, doesn't make the catch. And the caption is, Kyle Pitts drops the ball, can't reel this one in. Well, maybe if you threw it on his body, you actually led him to the sideline, he makes the grab because Kyle Pitts has one of the most for sure hands at the tight end position as well. So I like this Atlanta Falcons team. I get where Joel is coming from. The difference is he's in on Ridder. He believes that Ridder can get a job done for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm curious, how many wins do you have them with?
I have them with 9 and 10.
Okay, so then I really can't argue too much here because, again, I have them at 8 wins. I just believe the difference becomes the quarterback position. I trust Derek Carr. I trust this defensive unit that's been proven for multiple years. It's a unit that's been together as opposed to this Falcons defense that's kind of just newly been put together after a year of being amongst one of the worst in the National Football League. The talent is here. It's just a matter of showing me, but I just don't believe Ridder is that guy for me to put my faith into.
This division probably has the worst quarterback talent in the National Football.
Comfortably.
Yeah, because you got Trevor Lawrence, Tannehill, C.J. Stroud,
That's the only comparison, but they got guys.
They're pretty. They're carrying. Yeah, they're doing their thing. This division is pretty much.
Stroud's gonna be a dog, bro. I've been watching the
Twin is gonna be him.
I've been locked in on Houston, Texas.
He's got to take over those QB1 reps. I don't know why they're giving Davis Mills reps. This shit's nasty.
He's dog shit. But
CJ Stroud's gonna be good.
He threw a nice dot to Xavier Hutchinson, right? I believe that's his name.
So then John Mechie,
the route,
that route. Well, it kind of was like his third route.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It
was a triple move, but it was
He fried him.
The one-on-one DB receiver is just never fair. Yes. If you can't get open as a receiver 1-on-1, you're not gonna make it here.
The thing with Desmond Ridder is that I don't think he's going to be exceptional. I don't
think he needs to
as
be.
long as he's average, they can win the division.
Will he be?
I think he will be.
Okay, that's the difference.
I do.
I think that he is most definitely, in my opinion, a below average quarterback. I'm with you. If he is average, this should be the Falcons' division to win.
Like, I think he also has some, untapped potential there. I'm not saying he's going to be a franchise quarterback.
He has the help around him.
I'm saying, let's say, Ryan Tannehill, for example, can Desmond Ridder develop into a quarterback who, with a good foundation, can win? I think he can.
Tannehill was a first-round draft pick. He also was very good in Miami. Something that doesn't get spoken about, really.
Atlanta.
It was like this huge surprise that Tannehill
He was up and down, though.
No, towards the back half of his
Atlanta had to
tenure.
fix the defense. He
would
put a lot of
always
money
smoke us.
into that defense.
No, they definitely.
Offensively, they got the guys. It's just if Desmond Ridder, because Desmond Ridder doesn't have to go out and shoot out with Mahomes or outplay Herbert. If he's just okay, then this offense can be good. And then the defense, as long as the defense is better than what it was last year, then this team can win 8 to 9 to 10 wins. This team is pretty much built very, very well. And it's built very well for Desmond Ridder to succeed. He has Kyle Pitts. He has Drake London. Now he has a running back in Bijan, Tyler Egley, Cordell Patterson. Like, he has all these guys. He has a
Algier.
Sorry, I did not say that dude's name.
It's
What
just
do you-
came out of
Allergy,
his-
some
do you
shit
say?
like
I
that.
didn't-
Yeah,
Egler.
whatever that dude's last name is. Good player, though. I'm not going to disrespect
no,
him.
he is good.
Yeah,
He
he's a good
is
player.
good.
I drafted you, and they laughed at me.
We did.
Never
We
forget.
made you redo it.
Yeah, I didn't want to redo it. I like you, though, Tyler. You're my new guy. And then the offensive line is good. So Desmond Ridder just has to be, like Joel said, average. He doesn't have to be amazing, exceptional. This is year 2 for him.
Yep.
He can just be average. Arthur Smith is there to kind of lead the way and kind of put him in a good position to succeed. But this is a quarterback lead, and sometimes you need a quarterback, man.
It's a quarterback league, but I really think Derek Carr is on the back end.
Oh, no, he stinks.
Desmond Ridder was 2-2 in his starts.
He was.
17th in EPA per dropback, 20th in success rate, and he didn't make mistakes. 0 interceptions on 100-plus pass
You
attempts.
love that stat.
The only quarterback in
The
NFL
stat's
history
disgusting.
to do that.
Another thing that
That's
I will
like
say
one
is
No, that is a legit
That's
stat.
he knew
It's from the game day.
He knew the assignment.
Mhm.
Throw the ball to Drake London. Have you seen Drake London's targets in that span when
nuts.
he was playing?
That's something Mariota
Double
didn't
digits
do.
every time, which blew my mind.
And he didn't play with Kyle Pitts either. Desmond Ridder didn't.
If you look at the statistics, shout out to our guys over at Reception Perception. Drake London's one of the most dominant young receivers there was in terms of success rate. It was just a matter of getting him the rock. He really didn't do that until late in the season, which I'll give Desmond his credit. But it's just he didn't wow me. There was really nothing. He was playing super safe football, which I get. You don't want to make mistakes. You want the team to have confidence in you going into the next year that you can get a job done. He left them with a good taste. I mean, two wins back to back. Take it easy, slut. And now he's
really be
he's-
you.
No, for sure. His mind's
I know.
his mind's sick and twisted.
It's really you.
Come on, what are we doing here?
Oh, now
What
he
are
doesn't
you
want to
doing
be
here?
called out. Yeah, what are you doing?
I want to talk about the Falcons. Can I?
I
Talk
thought
to
you
me.
did.
Oh,
Wait, here,
no, I
yo,
haven't.
you want to talk about the Falcons?
If
You,
you-
got
you
something else
Actually
you want to say?
didn't go.
Yeah. No, I haven't.
I thought I was the last one to go.
No,
I really
no.
thought you went.
No, I haven't.
Oh, wow.
We're
Believe it or
literally
not,
ready to
I haven't.
go. Like,
Offensively, I'm very excited about this team. Just
Me
the size of these men.
Wow.
Drake London 6'4",
yo, you're fucking
Matt Collins 6'4", Kyle Pitts 6'6", 240 with the 4.4.
Matt
Bro, you're
Collins was looking
mesmerized by
problem.
You
girth and
have
size.
a workhorse running back in Bijan, the offensive line, Arthur Smith. But as you guys have all stated,
How big's Bijan?
It comes down. I think it's like 6'1".
Oh,
I think
okay.
it comes down to 6'1".
Damn, okay.
Big for a running back. But it comes down to Desmond Ridder,
Seen
who was just a game manager. I haven't, unfortunately. Ridder was just a game manager, and I think I'm kind of in between you guys. I don't think he's
Wow.
like it's me. It's this guy. This guy's sick.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
I think he could be average. It does feel like average is his ceiling because last year, again, only 4 games. He completed 63% of his passes, 170 yards per game. He was 48th in terms of air yards per completion or attempt. So really low, not throwing the ball down the field a bunch. But 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 3 total big time throws, and only 2 turnover-worthy plays. Both come in that first game against New Orleans. So the last 3 games of the season, insanely clean, no turnover-worthy plays. But I do think if you're a Falcons fan, you have to be pleased with the progress that Ridder showed throughout the season, throughout those 4 weeks. It seemed like week by week he got more comfortable. I went back and watched his final 2 games. Where I watched the first game against New Orleans. That shit was terrible. The last 2 games against the Cardinals and Tampa Bay, obviously 2 of the worst teams in the league last year. But again, The one area that stood out for me, at least, when I was watching him, then I went and looked at the stats, was under pressure, he looked very comfortable.
He was number 1 in the league under pressure.
Yes, under pressure. Extremely small sample size, but in terms of adjusting completion percentage, 79% while under pressure. So that's one area where young QBs, rookie QBs usually struggle the most when you're facing pressure, when you're getting blitzed. How are you able to overcome that? And that was one area that definitely showed off them when I was watching him. And as you mentioned, Drew, those last 4 weeks with Drake London, 36 targets, 25 receptions, 330 yards, and that was 35% of his receptions and nearly 40% of his receiving yards were in those final 4 weeks of the year. Mm-hmm. So Ritter came in and right away said, let's not overthink this. Let's go give it to the top 10 pick, the guy that was arguably the best wide receiver as a prospect, and he was able to feast with him. Now you have Kyle Pitts returning. You have Bijan's gravity in terms of a running back. You have Arthur Smith's play calling. I think this offense has some, top 15 type potential in it.